I'm gonna play a song here. Welcome to my live stream. Hi, Paul Shields. I don't know if you can see it, but that's myself in the background on my iPad. I don't know. I just thought it'd be trippy to do that. Oh, that sounds like so delicious. What you made? You made I just made toast, a yummy multi-grain sourdough drizzled on some olive oil, plus fresh coffee. Oh my God. That sounds delicious and healthy. Multi-grain, drizzle of olive oil. Your body needs olive oil. Yeah. I wasn't quite as good. I made a baked potato, okay, and it had like taco meat and cheese on top of it and green, chili verde salsa on it with pico de gallo and some sour cream. That was my big meal for the day. I need to go swimming after this. I need to go swimming for sure because the rumor has it that I'm like really fat and everything, but whatever. I definitely too love the fresh coffee part. It sounds like delicious. I haven't done a live in a while on YouTube, so those of you who have tuned in, thank you for listening. Yeah, there's a few things I want to talk about, things that are happening within pockets of community, within pockets of community, and so on and so on. And there's a lot happening right now. Ben the J Porter is live streaming at the moment, and I might just go ahead and pop in on his stream to see how he's doing, and then maybe share that as well. So let me this might be kind of fun as to do. I don't know if you guys are like totally into that. Hi, Michael Williams, welcome. Yeah, like today is July 29th, right? So it's like we're almost done with the month of July. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a really phenomenal month in terms of doing stand up comedy gigs. I've been doing a lot of things on TikTok. Matter of fact, I'm getting bigger numbers on TikTok than I'm having on YouTube. I mean, not to be like a snob or anything like that, but um, doing some live streams. I shared some of my live streams that I did on TikTok, and I probably will share just a couple things here, not to be too boring. But I think maybe I got a feeling when I say, well, let's talk, there's a lot going on. Oh, you started a mini podcast. Oh, that's great, Michael. I've been saying let's do something. Let's actually do something because like again, if you notice like my channel, I've been doing a lot of different things now and I'm really making this channel the way I really, in its original vision that I had for it. Although I the name of my channel is not my rabbit hole, and I have to keep to the commitment of busting the phony uh, grifters, UFO people, fake spiritualists. Part of this particular community and that's I've been involved in. I don't know if you guys know my background totally or I've mentioned it a few times, but I feel like I have new subscribers. So thank you for subscribing. I don't know if you guys check out some of you guys who listen to my live streams. I don't know if you've like to look at some of my shorts, but I feel that my shorts have a broader audience in the content that I am putting out in it. And some of it's been a little bit of my stand up. Some of it's been a little bit of my TikTok commentary that has done well also on YouTube. Also, I've been playing around with a new camera that I had bought. I might come and grab it, but I might show you a little bit of footage of it. But it's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Pack. And I do have a plant that has a double, it's on one stem, but it's got two flowers in one. It's a twin flower. And it's on its third bloom. And, I just think it's such a unique plant. I'm going to probably do another video on that just because I think it should be documented. It's not every day that you buy a plant at the Food for Less that was like this big in a small little pot, in May, and I've repotted it and it's in the windowsill and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I don't know about you guys, but I think having plants can make you feel better, because it's like life is blooming all around you. And for myself, when I look at the plant, I feel like it's like I'm like that in a way right now. It's like you can rebirth and bloom at any time of your life. And a lot of the things that are taking place and I'm observing and things that I've gone through in my past, it's not giving water to anybody's life force really, or there's so many other things to really talk about in the world that are also related to this community. I mean, a lot's happened, and there's so much that's happened that I'm almost like, can I even talk about it on YouTube? Like, what we say now later on going to be just all of a sudden it's against community guidelines a year later. Like it's happened. Like I don't know about you guys, but most of my violations that I ever got was something that I talked about like 4 years ago or something, and then it crops up and goes, well, this offends this because we've decided that, and we've AI, if you even say one single one of those words, we're just gonna punish you for saying it. But that doesn't mean that I haven't spent the last few days, watching other people's channels, and I'm talking about commentary on the Olympics, and the unalivened attempt on Donald Trump, and the media reaction, and Joe Biden resigning, and obviously we're going to have Kamala Harris running for president, and they thought of who's going to be the vice president, and all of that discussion that is rolling in front of us, and just how offended everybody is by the Olympics right now, and the taking down of of the opening ceremony on YouTube, and just all of that stuff is percolating. Meanwhile, in our world, in this pocket, this, I don't want to, I don't want to use the word, but it is a seed and ends with theory, right? You see, I'm even afraid to say that word, because then all of a sudden there'll be something that'll pop up when people watch this live stream, where it's going to be some sort of like explanation of what that word means and how you should view everything that's being said about the things that are being talked about. And what, it's like it's becoming so confined on how you can express your perception of what that is, even if you're trying to make it funny. It's like, well, does AI have a sense of humor? I don't really see it yet, really. I don't know about you guys. Hi, Dot_look, Dot, I gave you a wrench. So I finally got you a wrench. And again, I got to get Paul Shields, because you're here all the time. And Michael Williams, I think you're a wrench worthy on my not my rabbit hole live stream here. So I just want to sorry, wrench worthy. That's like funny to me. Are you wrench worthy? Something before I get into, because like what I wanted, like there's something that's on my mind that I want to share you that's I think it's kind of weird, that I believe that I saw on TikTok, or I saw it on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, to remind me to go back into that conversation about that. But because I want to go on to what's happening in the in the UFO debunking world, and the world of like David Wilcock and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to show a little bit of the footage here on my channel and mirror it just a little bit as Stephen Cambion's live last night on Truth Seekers, and how David Wilcock has attacked Stephen with, I would say, similar things that other people in this community have accused me of as well. And it's just so interesting for me that it's actually coming from David Wilcock, because of the things that he's been involved with that have to do with the 17th letter of the alphabet. I'm just going to be frank about it. Going all the way back to the letter P, San Francisco gate, right? I just put San Francisco in there, but the gate you just cut San Fran out, and you get what I'm talking about. He was, it definitely in contact with Brian Seaman at that time, who was doing the reporting in DC and all this kind of stuff. I'm just taking you back to that time period, and then I'm taking you forward in time of things that are, like, let's say, David Wilcock is talking about. And so I'm just going to go over to here, because, I'm just observing this, right? I mean, we're just observing this. again, I try not to, um because like right before the show, I was looking at things that, um okay, now I want to go to, I think it's this one, that I want to share. Okay. Like if you look at what I get, these are my notifications. You see David Wilcock, he's live streaming right now, and whatever he's talking about, it's the grand finale. All right. So David Wilcock live approaching the grand finale. And what is he serving his audience? Well, look at how interesting. He's wearing a bow tie just like another David that we know. I guess this is maybe it's the bow tie grifter club. Maybe we should call the two Davids the bow tie grifter club. But what he's doing is he's always David Wilcock is always serving up doomsday scenarios for his audience, and that is based on the belief that there is a satanic cabal that is secretly governing the world. And then we have one of the presidents that is running, that is all this time, even in his campaign, it was about him draining the swamp, which is, obviously only the swamp only belongs to the Democrats in the United States. But whatever, we'll just continue here. Okay. But here he is, and this is a manipulation, and what these people are playing in, and I'm gonna say that these grifters are playing in, is that they are playing in the grift of spirituality. Yeah, like it's like, remember when David, because I used to follow David Wilcock. I mean, I have to say that I thought I took half of the apparently I took half of the red pill, right? I mean, or maybe I took the really red pill, the ultra, whatever that is, right? But at some point, when you watch how these people on the internet grift, they will go with, just like any other type of cult. If you watch Heaven's Gate or anything else, they will grift in some sort of doomsday scenario. And the first time, when I caught on to David Wilcock, it was about the 2012. And he pushes an ascension, which isn't really what you consider Christianity. So, but there's everything about the spiritual life and the soul and the discussion of what our reality really is. All right. And when you look at these things, when you look at these conversations, or these situations, like, you have to wonder, like, okay, so who are these people really? I mean, did the world change in 2012? No, it didn't. But David Wilcock goes on and on and on and on, and he's going on so much that he is actually now accusing Stephen Cambion from Truth Seekers, the typical type of accusations that these people that I'm seeing make. Like, why is it always that they have to call people a satanic, NAZIPEDO, which is exactly what the other David Schurter does. And even though you might say, well, they have two different demographics of audience, in a sense, they really don't. I guess one, you can say, specializes in a certain area, is more fringe in some other area. But David Wilcock is actually confirming in his narratives that what David Schurter says, in and of its premise, is in fact true. Okay. So I'm gonna get to, let me just like play like a little bit more music, just as I pull up, Stephen Campion's stream to have the grand discussion about. And so I'm just pulling it up here. Let's go back to Okay, so I'm gonna do a screen share here on Truth Seekers, and change this over to here. So I'm gonna skip like his opening. Oh, here he goes. It goes pretty right away, but let's go to like right here. Okay, and let's watch this for a bit. Oh, let me put my, actually, I got this banner idea from him. This is fair use. This is transformative work, and we are educating the public and critiquing the video we are sharing. This is covered by fair use with, and it is allowable by law. Okay, so let's go ahead and play him here.
I'm here to first assure you that I was not arrested by Colorado police today, as David Wilcock claimed he was having me arrested, essentially for making YouTube videos.
I mean, and look how they're claiming it. Like, when have we heard this before? All right, just think about it.
Well, actually, he's claiming he's going to have me arrested for a multitude of false claims. We're going to cover every one of the false claims. And just so everybody is aware, we're up to speed. On David Wilcock's latest live stream, he essentially invented a supervillain.
And you can't arrest somebody for free speech, all right? You can sue somebody for defamation, but you don't arrest them because of what they said on their YouTube channel, please.
But then he put my name and face to the supervillain. Essentially, what he is doing is he is claiming that every one of his online trolls, every one of his haters, every one of his detractors, everybody who sends him a mean tweet, everybody who called apparently, or I'm sorry, emailed the Boulder County Animal Rescue, or excuse me, Animal.
Hi, Colt. I just got it. Examiner, where can I see your interview with Max Spears? Yeah, it's on my channel here. As this is going on, I will pull it up for you and make sure that I share it in the chat.
Protection in Colorado, people who claim they are suing him with fake lawsuits. He claims all of those people are me. And I assure you, I am not all of those people. And while David Wilcock is now claiming that he is going to sue me in court, all of his claims about me are completely and totally, easily, provably fake. And we're going to get into all of that. And I just also want to take a moment before we begin in the major presentation to recognize that there is a history of con artists and scammers suing journalists, which is a threat to free speech and public discourse. Despite how we joke around here so much, I consider one part of my job here, being an investigative journalist, to be the serious part of what I do. And let's be clear, David Wilcock is essentially claiming that because I call people and ask questions, I'm threatening his life somehow. That is not the case. The purposes of my investigation is, of all the investigations, by the way, David Wilcock is so stupid, he should look up the Streisand effect, because of putting my face, and well, he put my face behind a mask, but still, a quick Google search of UFO Lucifer, which he shared on his show.
Okay, I just want to, I had a question about where is my Max Spears interview. I'm even going to do, I put it in the chat there, Occult Examiner. But I'll show you just so people know how to, it's on my video list. Okay. And it's titled Terry Joyce Interview, Max Spears, October 31st, 2015, rare interview. But if you click
like slipping here, into a lot of these beings.
I'll even play a little bit of it if you guys want, just to like, you know, not to be spastic here, but
or the elites who are manufacturing these, if we're talking about reality television, are psychic vampires, and so they don't have a central core which is powering themselves. They don't have a sacrum which is powering themselves. So they need to take energy from others to maintain themselves. And that's why you'll find a lot of those types of people doing work in front of big audiences, because when you have a massive reaction from an audience, whether it's negative or positive, that energy can be filtered to the person who is creating the reaction.
And that's interesting to play, thinking about like what is happening with, with the Olympics right now, and how the reaction to that is so massive and so energetic, and it's being talked about. It feels like it's all about energy and the harvesting of that energy. And think about this is a global event. So and just recently when we talk about like the attempt on Donald Trump and all this stuff, Joe Biden stepping down and everything, this is a lot of energy that people are harvesting. And also there's certain characters on the internet, as in David Wilcock or David Schroeder or whatever, that also are harvesting energy in their own way. And they oftentimes will cross over to these events and they spin things with a doomsday scenario. Always, it's the end of something and the rebirthing of something else or something, right? So, and David Wilcock, because he's psychic and special, has this special info on all of this, and that is David's grift. But how is that different than Heaven's Gate? The psychological implications of how it's done to people on the internet or anywhere else, I see a similar pattern and how they do it. And you can also attach that to political movements. Okay, so let's continue.
Show character from our show here. By the way, it's a comedic parody. And also, by the way, that's David Wilcock's proof that I am a Satan worshiper, that I once wore a devil mask in order to do a comedic parody called UFO Lucifer here. That's a completely and totally false claim, provably false claim. But we'll get into all of that. First, I wanted to take a moment, however, to talk about the relationship between journalism and litigation. After all, we have seen that Corey Goode used these exact tactics. To be clear, Mr. Wilcock implied or basically said that I'm a Satan worshiper.
Okay. All right. I have to address this. That's coming in the chat right now. So a Cult Examiner saying there was a video that someone sent me that was of Max being whipped and giving info. It was the freakiest thing I've ever heard of. Okay. So, I mean, you know, you're dropping something in my chat that you're not going to provide a receipt for. So it's like you here in my chat. Okay. This is, you're kind of an example. So you're the first time coming in here. But it's an example of somebody trying to dump some sort of information that apparently I'm not dumb like David Schurter that I'm going to, tomorrow I'm going to be doing a TikTok video about this, as if because you were in my chat saying that somebody dumped something with a video like that. Okay. That's the problem with what's happening here. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to let you go. So let me take this down. And I don't know, maybe I won't. Let's see. How do I? There. Okay, yeah. I'm going to let you go. Because I don't allow that. That just doesn't sound legitimate. If you have real footage of anything about anybody that's not with us anymore, who can't speak for themselves, do not come into my chat and act like, you're going to drop me some sort of intel on my channel. You're not. All right. I'm sorry, but I go to college for digital journalism. All right. So I'm educated. So don't come here and act like I'm going to be uneducated. Wait, sorry. Let's continue.
Also said that I am I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. The YouTube does not like the P word. Yeah, he called me a child predator, essentially. And what Mr. Wilcock should be aware of.
Oh my, sound familiar, anybody?
While he's throwing around words like slander and defamation, is that I happen to volunteer for children's charities. And because of that, I get background checks every so often, whatever is required. But I volunteer for children's charities. So for David Wilcock to do something so despicable, so disgusting, and so dangerous on a public live stream as to call somebody who works for children's charities a child predator, and you think you have a lawsuit, Mr. Wilcock? Is that really the way you're going to go here? And by the way, Mr. Wilcock, it is against YouTube's what you did is against YouTube's terms of service.
That's right. And what is David Wilcock doing that's any different than David Schurter? He has no proof. He's just blatantly saying it. He's lying about me and other people. And you know what? And he thinks that there's no ramifications for that.
And community guidelines. So my advice to you is to take that video down. I have not yet reported your video or taken any action. I'm still consulting with my own attorney about what steps we are going to take, because you called me a Satan worshiper in a public live stream, and your only proof for that.
It sound familiar to anybody here in this scenario? How many people do you know? You guys that are watching this stream right now, or you're going to watch it later, how many other people do that to other people on the internet? What community is engaging in that kind of behavior, and they have absolutely zero evidence for what they're saying on their videos, their shorts, their streams, or anything? Sound familiar? It does to me.
That is, I wore a devil mask in a comedic parody. Further, you put up on the screen the word PEDO and claimed that I was one of those people on a public live stream. This is completely and totally despicable, especially coming from Mr. Love and Light New Age guru. But I'm going to try to maintain my composure.
Well, they all say they're about love and light. Even David Schurter tries to convince us of that.
I don't want to get angry and start yelling and screaming at this clown, because what happened, let's be clear, what happened on his live stream were very, very incredibly serious, reputation damaging and destroying allegations were made against me with absolutely no proof or evidence that those claims are true. But back to the relationship between litigation and journalism. You know, many people have tried to silence journalists, and regardless of what you think of me or what you think of my show, one of my functions here is to investigate things and report on them. This is the textbook definition of what an investigative journalist does. And by the way, I mentioned the Streisand effect. Anybody who really wants to know the truth about David Wilcock and all of his shady business.
Yeah, what you guys are doing, he is an investigative journalist in this world. And I would say so am I, and I'm going to school for it. So, you know, what you guys are doing is you're slandering a digital journalist student who's on the dean's list. All right. And blatantly saying that you're trying to ruin me in your videos and your public statements. And you think that there's no ramification for that?
Business dealings. And why so many people on Twitter and all over the internet are calling him a con artist. I believe that it does have something to do with our investigations here. So in the description of this video or podcast are, I believe, 5 separate investigations that I did into Mr. Wilcock's various business dealings. And if you will,
and if you think about it, what did I do with David Schurter? I exposed, like, I countered his lie. I showed where he was getting a donation from Thomas. Like, where, you know, I showed, like, I discussed the real facts surrounding the explosion. Like, I researched things. I proved him wrong in what I showed in my videos. Same thing with Miss Angela Power Disney. The reason why she's so upset, and trust me, there's going to be I'm looking at things again, because that woman's been around me with me way back when I was on Revolution Radio and American Freedom Radio and all those different networks. And she has done the same pattern to me as David Schurter or David Wilcock is doing to him. And they all come from this UFO truth media area. You know, Angela Parra Disney got a big boost out of, the Basis Project. Same place that, that featured Max and James Casboll. Same people that are connected to Carrie Cassidy. What is she talking about right now? Well, she's saying 107 is, you know what I'm talking about. Let's get real here.
Indulge me. I know it's a lot to go through, but Mr. Wilcock has a very long and sort of ridiculous history of these shady business dealings. It's all in the description of the video, some 5 different investigations that we ran. There was one on the GoFundMe. That was a complete and total scam for Pete Peterson. There's one on the Emery Smith PayPal donation scam. That was a complete and total scam. There's one on his charity and his shady use of charitable donations. That's in there. There's one on his shady aerospace company, which details that in court records, Mr. Wilcock's Stavati Aerospace was called an investment scam and a Ponzi scheme. So if you're wondering why David Wilcock is attempting to silence me with threats of being arrested and lawsuits as well, There's your answer. There's your answer. The truth is, I'm such a good reporter. I know more about all of his different business activities than anyone on earth, I believe. I've done more homework on his business dealings, and I've detailed it, journaled it, and reported on it here. He's not going to get me arrested for anything that I did wrong. He's going to try to use lawfare to shut down a journalist that is critically covering his business activities, his very shady business activities. But back to the relationship between journalism and litigation, when it comes to the exposure of fraudulent activities, throughout history, con artists and scammers have often resorted to frivolous lawsuits as a means to silence journalists who uncover and publicize their schemes. These lawsuits aim to intimidate and burden journalists and reporters with legal fees, the fear of retribution. And these lawsuits ultimately have a chilling effect on free speech. And by the way, just to be clear, David Wilcock is taking a book straight out of the Corey Goode playbook. Everything that he did on his latest live stream was straight out of the Corey Goode playbook. Corey Goode also called his critics satanic pea people, most notably dark journalists and others. Corey Goode then threatened to, and indeed in some cases did sue his online critics. And so I would caution Mr. Wilcock, before you go forward with a frivolous lawsuit against me. Oh, and by the way, I just want to publicly inform him, he can't sue me personally. He has to sue my company, which right now I think we have about $75 in that bank account. So good luck recovering any damages from a company that is struggling since COVID. He has to sue my company. And by the way, I'll just give it out there. My company is called Spectral International LLC. And you will clearly see that every reporting that I do, every content that I create is clearly marked, created by Spectral International LLC. He can't sue me personally, which means all of my personal assets and everything are safe. He can only go after my company and recover damages from the company funds. Good luck with that, David Wilcock. It would be an extremely fruitless endeavor. But back to Corey Goode. Corey Goode did all of this. Look how these same tactics worked. How great did that work for Corey Goode? Corey Goode brought what happened to him on himself. His frivolous lawsuits forced him to sit in a deposition chair for an entire day answering questions from the from the defendant's lawyers. If David Wilcock were to be so silly and stupid enough to try this with me, and he would have to, first of all, he's going to have to give me he's going to have to give a deposition, which means me and my lawyer will write a huge list of questions that he is forced by law to answer under oath. How do you think that sort of questioning is going to go for you? How much damage do you think? I mean, apparently he thinks I've done damage to his business with my reporting. How much damage will I do when I get to ask you questions for an entire 8-hour day and you're forced to answer those questions, Mr. Wilcock? And also, if he were to go forward with a lawsuit against me, he's going to give me subpoena power. I will be within my legal rights to subpoena all of his financial records, all of his texts, all of his emails, all of his phone call records, any financial records, the records from the PayPal thing with Emery Smith, the records from the GoFundMe with Pete Peterson, the records from his charity, the records from Stavati Aerospace. Anything I want, I can subpoena if he were to go forward with this. So, and by the way, if this becomes a reality, I will subpoena everything that I am legally allowed to subpoena. And I will be making all of those records public on our Truth Seekers Google Drive and in our Truth Seekers Discord here. The best defense against some nut job like David Wilcock is to let him know he's free to do. Everybody's free to, this is America. It's a very litigious nation, right? That's my big word of the day. It means people love there's a lot of lawsuits in the United States. People are free to be litigious. People are free to sue people. However, They should be aware there's consequences. Corey Good was so dumb, he didn't realize that he was giving his critics subpoena power and the ability to put him in a chair and make him answer questions for 8 or 10 hours straight. That's what Wilcock is going to be volunteering for should he go forward. The use of litigation to suppress unfavorable press is not a recent phenomenon, though. As early as the 18th and 19th centuries, journalists and reporters faced legal challenges from powerful individuals and entities who were seeking to suppress negative coverage. However, the modern trend of con artists and scam.
Let's just also, like, what is the difference between actual, like, reporting and going on your YouTube channel and just, you know, purposely slandering somebody and making up lies about them? And then, you know, which I'm gonna do a clip of something that happened to that recently to me. And you know what, like this person calls themselves a journalist, although a lot of people would say no, that's not a journalist, because when you talk about something, and this is something that you know, Stephen Cambion, the reason why I like him and that I like Truth Seekers, and you know, I don't know if anybody knows this, I actually you know, wrote a feature article for one of my final, it was my final for my first journalism class that I took at Fresno City College about him. And, you know, the reason why I wanted to write about him is because he's in this media really busting these people, and he backs what he says. He doesn't just say things and make it up and accuse people of things. He shows what they do. He shows their videos. He shows their stuff, and he does it in a humorous and clever way. He has production value. You know, look at his background. Look at it. Look at the way he looks. Look, you know, he did do the character. You know, he had the devil mask. He's playing a character. And therefore, you know, that is what David Schroeder is saying. Oh, this means that he is a satanic pedo. Okay. Which is very similar to what people like David Schroeder do, or Angela Disney or Denise Matau do. They take things that you know, aren't, you know, here's this article over here, and therefore I'm showing you a legitimate article, something that really happened. It's obvious that these people are also guilty of this. Just because I have the article, I'm making reference that this is a true thing, so therefore what I say about them is true. And that doesn't make something true. That is not journalism. That is not allowed in real journalism, because if you did that, you could be sued for that. And so, like, when our friend here, Stephen Cambion, is talking about like how he can do this and that and blah blah blah, when he's got all his ducks in the row, you know, he knows the law. He knows what free speech is. He knows what it, you know, what he could be getting. Just because David Wilcock is being reported and called out as being a grifting phony doesn't mean that Stephen Cambion deserves to have ad hominem on him so heinous. Like, that is the Charlie McCarthy. That's the new McCarthyism. Calling somebody a satanic pedo is this way of smearing something with huge connotations. It's meant to ruin somebody. It's meant to hope that, you know, and when he's getting, you know, there somebody's doing a background check or whatever, people will go, oh my God, so and so saying this about you. But my argument is you know, like, take a look at the people at this point that are saying such things. You know, it's like, look what they do. Look what part of element of media, or no, element's not the right word to have in there, but what slice of media do they belong to? Do you think the real world right now is thinking about what David Wilcock says? You know, about the Olympics or the assassination of, you know, attempt. Yeah, there's a group of people that do, And there's and David Wilcock has put in that in, you know, his doomsday. Let's look at what he's streaming right now. The final, you know, the final showdown. We're definitely in the middle of Armageddon. You know, according to David Wilcock, it's the final days, and he has the scoop and he has the vision, and he's the prophet that's come here to tell you that. And you know, when you are present the grand finale here, let me show it. I'm not going to play, you know, his stuff, but this is what he's streaming right now, approaching the grand finale, and he has positioned himself, and he's combined, like, what is he, a Christian, or does he believe in Ra? Is he doing channelings from Ra? Like, that is not a person that, I mean, if you're really looking at it from a Christian perspective, that is not somebody who is like, would be considered a Christian according to Christians, because you don't channel other entities. You don't present other things as the, you know, he's acting like, I mean, his whole thing is that he is channeling Archangel Michael. And if that is a hoax, which I think it is, don't you think in God's eyes that would be also considered to be misleading and blasphemous? I mean, when you're talking about end times, about what people are doing in end times, you know, I guess you could look at it from that perspective. But to, you know, go in and, I mean, I'm sure the people that are watching David Wilcock are also preppers, and you know, you can put that into the equation of who is his demographic that's following him, and I followed him for so long about arrests and this and that, and watching everything go down and thinking that he had some sort of wisdom, when it really comes out, he's just a greedy grifter sponging on the love and light crowd. You know, people who think that, you know, there's a twin flame, like Lauren Pritchard, you know, that's another scam. Oh, I'm James Casbolt's twin flame, but James Casbolt doesn't know. Like, if that were the case, how come James Casbolt's not calling her? Like right now. Seriously. Hi, Sewer Town. Hi, Ben. I just saw your stream and I gave a shout out to you, and I was almost gonna like come on and go in your chat and go hi and then show you like saying hi to me on your stream, but I was like wondering about like the total legalities of that, you know. But since we're here, I'm just gonna clean the palette for a second. I think that's important to give you guys a little bit of a break. And I want to show a little tiny clip. Oh, first of all, let's do this one. This is about, because I was talking about how David Wilcock was calling Stephen Cambion a satanic PEDO, right? In doing ad hominem. Here's David Schurter, because what we think, and I've shown this graphic around, it's Sarah Rachel Adams that was in David Schurter's chat. And here's David Schurter making up rumors about me and Stephen Cambion. And this was my reaction playing around with it while playing Daniel Dowd playing it and whatever. And this is, anyway, here it is.
If Tara Joyce and Steve Campion are together, then you need to look into their emails too. Because I know Tara Joyce.
I start telling you, like, quit
Last
touching my
month,
hair.
Steve is covering for Tara Joyce. Well, then he's involved. Because if he's with Tara Joyce, then he's involved with all that nefarious shit. And he needs to be investigated as well, too. You know? I don't know who they're dating. I don't give a shit. Tara Joyce is probably dating someone so she can blame it off on them and throw them under the bus. That's the kind of woman she's like. That's who I've seen. You know, the woman has no morals. She doesn't know the truth. She wouldn't know the truth if it fucking smacked her on the side of the head. She still wouldn't be able to recognize it. That's how she is.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's kind of interesting that this is literally, you know, like a few days before Stephen Cambion does the whole David Wilcock thing, that you already have David Schroeder spinning these stories about how I'm, you know, dating him when, you know, he lives in Pennsylvania and he is a married man. And I don't know, I'm at least 15 years older than him or more. I just, you know, I just don't know what to say there. This song I'd like to dedicate to David Schroeder because, you know, we've been doing the safety dance because he says we dance around like chimpanzees. And I was at karaoke and I sang a little bit of it. And so I thought I would just play this one just to kind of clear the palate a little bit right now. Okay, and so you know, that's that there. I've gotten a kick out of like bringing that song back up. And this one here is just my commentary on the Olympics. Just a little clip of it, but if you want to watch a longer version, that's here on my YouTube channel. So everything. And the one where it got to synchronicity, where it had the where they were hanging off the scaffoldings and everything, it just blew me away. And the photography and the filming and then you get to Les Miserables, and then you see the lady with the note, her head not on, and like this, like, you know, this black, blue, blood, like fires screaming out of the windows. I'm like, what's going on now? It's like oh my god, it's turning into a horror film. Because before, you know, you have like Lady Gaga out there. You know, she's got the little powder puffs, and you know, such a great routine. I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. And then you get to like, you know, Marie Antoinette with her head like held and everything. I mean, it was amazing. The rock music, everything. I'm like, okay, it's cool, it's fine. I can handle it. That's fine. Everything's okay. And so those are just like a few of my shorts that I uploaded recently. Like I said, this has been a really great month. I had a great birthday. I've got some really fun karaoke footage. You know, I've gone to, I've done like 3 or 4 different shows. I have a show coming up on Wednesday. I've got a gig, actually a retirement home. I know, kind of interesting. I have another gig on the 9th. I'm going to be headlining the Bear River Casino. So, you know, doing some TikTok videos and doing some TikTok live streams actually helped me get, you know, out there again. And I had a interview for an internship yesterday, which I'm hoping that I get for next semester. So I'm crossing my fingers. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think in my life I'm really grateful for, and you know, and that I'm really looking forward to. So when I in talking about like how this channel's gonna be, right? I mean, it's not like I'm gonna like stop investigating or doing commentary on what a certain type of media does, but you know, in terms of, you know, reacting to every little thing that somebody's going to say to me and whatever, I really just I don't have the time for it. if you want to, continue or whatever, bottom line is, I probably eventually will like be able to make enough money to do a defamation lawsuit if I so care to. Or, I might just point out like how ridiculous you are, but just in everything that you're doing, because these people are not presenting any facts behind what they're doing. They're just blatantly doing it. And again, speaking of like, wigs and things like that, the whole wig thing, there was another thing that came out recently. Apparently everybody got excited about. It was Wig Goat. Apparently I'm goat, and my wig is goat. So, and Daniel Down said, you might as well lean into that. And I actually made this video on TikTok. It did really good on TikTok. I don't know why people like this video so much. But what I did was I, went to AI and I said, I wrote in the word wig and goat, and this came up. And so I just thought I'd play it.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough
and then when I did anime, I said, create a wig goat, a goat with a wig, and anime, it actually means like almost like a goat person. So I did this one too. So.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think
so I thought, why not lean into it and, create some content about Wig Goat. Oh, hi, Colleen Armstrong. Oh, I'm sure Stephen's wife would object to me actually dating him. And and the whole thing when David Sure is going, oh, and I don't see how anybody would want to date her anyway. Ew, gross. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, what's gross is the fact that he has a bunch of bathtub videos. Like there was one today. And I almost like want to play it. Like I want to play it and just you know what? I'll do that. I'll play something in the background just for fun. All right. So let's go to David Schurter. This is David Schurter, like completely. I'm assuming he's dripping wet and nude, but he has to like go, oh my God, let me shoot a video of myself and talk about how I'm getting directed energy weapons. And by the way, on my community page, I have, I took a couple pictures. I'll show that later, where you can vote on whether you think that David Schurter is, suffering from directed energy weapons, or if he actually just drank too much cheap wine the night before. Which I'm thinking I'm going with the cheap wine theory, to be honest with you, but. I'm sorry. I am a comedian, and I can't help it if I have to, make fun of this a little bit, because that's how ridiculous it is. So here we go. Let's show it.
Hey, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. You may be close to bringing me down.
Okay. So he's going on about Lucian Greaves, but I thought, just for kicks, right, that I would play, because I just lately I've been thinking about him, and he does remind me of the Wild Bill character in The Shining. I'm sorry, but he does. And so I thought like I would play that song, just where we can watch him talk, really, just let's play it. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop that, and but I just wanted to give you a little taste of David right now. And so that's, I mean, like, when you're doing, naked videos of yourself, I just know what to say. When you're talking about Lucian Greaves, the head of the Satanic Church, and you're sitting there dripping wet, naked, because like you can't decide to put your clothes on and comb your hair, because the topic of Lucian Greaves and the fact that you look so bad that morning because you've had directed energy weapons is, I don't know. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I will continue to say that. And I don't get it why people are even making comments like, "Oh, David, oh, David, God bless you. Jesus loves you, David. You're so wonderful." It's like, are you kidding me? Like, this guy is like naked and he's wet, and he is talking like about how he's a victim of something. Is it Havana syndrome? Or is it like, about, is he bloated in the face because he's drinking too much wine? I'm gonna go with wine theory. So because I figure that if he's sitting there doing live streams, drinking wine while he's doing it, maybe at this point he has a problem. And you know what? Your donations are basically going to his box wine that he's sitting there with his, probably cheap Dollar Tree glass. No, I take it back. He has more taste than that. He wears a bow tie just like David Wilcock. How ironic that it would be that way. Okay, so the next thing that I want to move on to is the fact that before I go into Angel Power Disney, because we're going to show a little bit of what APD has been saying about me when you talk about people who are actually really lying. And by the way, like I said before, I have a video on Rumble that I made years ago about Angel Power Disney. But I've looked at it, and I've looked at things going on now, and I'm just noticing things in a different way than I did. And so I want to do another reassessment of who and what I think Angel Power Disney is and what she's doing. But one of the things that I think you should pay attention to is that Angel Power Disney attached herself to the Hampstead situation in the UK, which is like the UK's version of McMartin. Okay. And she was, and this is how I met her. I met her through, I believe she says it through Facebook. I do believe that we started communicating with Facebook. She says I was in a group with the Basis Project. I might have been briefly in it. Like I said, I had interviewed Miles Johnston. I have a background with a lot of the people, just like I had interviewed, Max Spears. Now, Angela, I met her after Max was not with us anymore. And, again, it was the same sort of thing that I would say was like a Denise kind of thing. Well, it's getting hot in here. Let me put the air on a little bit. Here, let me just come back to this for a second, because I want to talk about what I think is actually happening here. Here's a cute song. I'll play this.
They call me sassy when I'm strolling down the street. They call me classy when I'm serving just the best. I can be deadly when I find somebody lovely. And now I'm ready like a kitty in a dress. Don't call me mean, I just want someone to love me. Someone to lick my wounds and kiss my aching body. My desperation knows no termination, baby. Now would you love me if I was somebody else? Wish I had a tail, wish I had a tail. 'Cause if I did, then I would swing it, be swinging it in front of you. If I had a tail, if I had a tail, yeah, if I did.
And I'm assuming that Ben's gone. Thank you for stopping in. I know that they have a different time zone over there, but all right. So let's just go on. Angela Parra Disney, I interviewed her. She was, placed herself in that position of talking about that one particular topic. I didn't know much about it. I interviewed her, and all of a sudden I just had massive trolling. Now, there's a group called Hoaxstead out there, and I'm at this point, I'm not sure if the group that was trolling me actually is from that group that did the videos and the blog and stuff like that. I'm wondering if that group, that troll group, doesn't really just come from Angela Parra Disney's department. And the reason why I think that at this point is because also of Angela Parra Disney's association to people that, or incidents that flared up on this channel. And one of them has to go back to when I was doing a live stream. There was an incident that happened between some people that were in my chat, and one of those people was Lee Veltman persons under a sock puppet account. And I think like a Jim Ronan, and then there was Angela Parra Disney. And she got like in an argument with them, or there was some sort of scuttlebutt, and I was streaming like this, and I was doing a screen share, and it was a disruptive, and I asked them not to be, make a disruption. And then it came out that there was a whole thing that happened with Lee Veltman and myself. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it, because I thought it was odd that he was using sock puppet accounts to be in my streams when I thought he was just kind of gone away. Like, obviously, why would he still be paying attention to me when I'm just carrying on in another channel? And I feel like back since the time that I knew Lee Veltman, and he first appeared in my life when I was on Revolution Radio and American Freedom Radio and all those kind of networks, I felt that I'm not the same. I don't hold the same naive viewpoints that I did back then. Like, I really have to confess that I drank some of the Kool-Aid back when I was on those channels. And I thought, since I had pulled away from those beliefs, in a sense, right? There are things that I have said, like there's a story that I told on Lift the Veil, okay, that I probably shouldn't have said names, that I think was really creepy. And it was an odd experience. And I think that those experiences, if you've had them, right, I'm not devaluing the experience. And I had, while I was on those networks and talking about certain things, had experiences that were quite frightening for me. And, you can believe me or you cannot believe me, or, I myself am still trying to process exactly what those things were and what happened at that time. I wouldn't want to go back to that time. Part of the reason why I chose not to live in Los Angeles anymore has to do with some of my choices. I can't lie about that either. So I think because of the fact that I had also what you would say, my own testimony of something that would be considered to be inside, entertainment oriented. And now I don't think what I have to say is really any different. I mean, it's really much more minor than, let's say, what, Cat Williams has come out and talked about. So when you're talking about entertainers coming forward and, saying, oh, I have maybe an odd Hollywood story, or I had this experience that it was kind of scary. I'm really glad I'm, still streaming right now and still alive and, going through life and doing my thing. So, and those experiences, by the time I met Angela Power Disney, had already happened to me. And, I was, and I feel like just talking about this for a minute, just before, because you got to know, like, what my background is. Like, how is it that it's not just random that Denise is on Angela Power Disney's show and she's sitting there talking about my friend Jeff Reed that passed away, who was also involved in the UFO community and was involved in the documentary about Captain Mark Richards and why he's really sitting up in Marin County, which involves Carrie Cassidy. See? And that's who Jeff Reed is. That's how I know Jeff Reed. And I know Kevin Moore through the fact that at the time I was friendly with Sarah Rachel Adams, and Sarah Rachel Adams introduced me to Kevin Moore. So I'm just giving you like how, and then that's how we did our interview that happened together. And, at that time, I was involved with Stephen D. Kelly, who was also a former Revolution Radio host. I was on his network on Truth Cat Radio, and he believed and pushed a lot. He became a 17th letter of the alphabet person. And I watched it happen. I watched the evolution of that media turn into something that is still this day pretty mind-blowing to me. And the associations of how this goes. How can you deny that Simon Parks is a big 17th letter of the alphabet when he came out on the Basis Project talking about how he was a UFO experiencer? And some of that footage has been used in like some real shows, some real BBC productions of people who talk about being UFO contactees. So the bridge of, where this, community goes to and what it's really connected to is, I think is worth investigating. It's worth analyzing. And it kind of helps me solve my own puzzle of like, why has all of this happened to me? Because Angela Power Disney and I go back to, I mean, maybe I did know her when Max was still alive. I just don't think that I interviewed her until after he was passed. And I didn't know much about her. I didn't know hardly anything about her when she approached me. And so here she is, on her channel with Denise Matau at this point. And this is like just a few days ago, and it happened after I made a video. Maybe I should just show you the video. It came after I made this public statement and did my last live stream. It happened days afterwards. And so I'll just play that video of my own just to show you where that's at. Hi, David Schurter. This message is specifically for you. Today, you made a video and you said that I never knew Max Spears. That is inaccurate. In fact, I interviewed him. In 2015, and I'm going to like put that in the description of this video so that maybe you'll click on it and listen to my interview of him. You know, it's been on my channel, this channel. It was on my other channels. It's on my Rumble channel. I was actually friends with Max Spears. Yeah, he used to like send messages to me via Skype just to check on how I was doing. And you've sat there on your channel saying that you're talking to him in the astral plane and you're going to come out and you're going to take us all out. We're going to get vengeance on you. You have been so nasty to me and said so many defamatory remarks and lies about me that I'm pretty sure Max would not approve of it. I firmly believe that. I'm asking you to stop lying about me. Right now, you lied. I'm saying it's anybody can look it up and see that I knew him. And you, Angel Para Disney, you're saying it too. What's wrong with you? You know better than that. You knew I knew Max. Hey, Angie, you know I did the interview. What's wrong with you? Oh, I get it. Both of you guys are fake SRA survivors. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And you guys never knew Max. Matter of fact, David, you can't even get his name right. You called him Max Weber when you interviewed his mom. That's how little you knew Max, you phony. All right, so I was a bit irritated there, right? I was a bit irritated. So, and then just to kind of maybe spice it, I mean, just like make it so it's kind of like not so horrible. Let me change the energy. Oh, where did I put that one? I'll do my reptilian material. Let's throw some conspiracy material in there. Okay.
And I'm kind of into conspiracies too. Do you guys ever like? Do you, like? Are you anybody into conspiracies here?
Yeah.
Don't you love Bigfoot? Yeah. You know he has big feet. He must Let me go find out. I know, like the reptilian conspiracy. You know, like some people think that they're like they're reptilians. Yeah. 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 I had a boyfriend once, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm from an Illuminati family, and you know, I'm a reptilian, and I'm not the only one you've been with." And I'm like, "What? Am I the whore for the reptilians? What is going on here?" I'm like, reptilians, the other white meat. And I'm kind of into.
Anyway, so I thought I'd just, just a little break because I know like this other part's just not going to be as pleasant for anybody watching. Trust me. Maybe for some people, I mean, it might be right up your alley. You'd be like, oh yeah. I was like searching the wrong area. Okay. Oh, I'm still in my suit. Yeah. Okay. So, I should have had this brought up, but so, and what's interesting about this video is that it's titled like Denise Mantower and her daughter. And I thought we've already been introduced to this. So here's Denise. Denise cannot be on YouTube anymore. She's banned so bad that it won't even accept her IP address. And so here we have her on with Angel Para Disney. I think this is like the 4th or 5th time that she's had Denise on.
Okay, people, I'm very delighted to reconnect with Denise Matteau, and it makes me cringe. Everybody calls her, every time somebody calls her Denise Matteau, it's like, get, you know.
Oh, thank you, Collie. That's really nice. You're a beautiful human being. Let these guys go. Yeah, that's what I need to do. I just gotta let them go. But I also think that it's time that we expose these kind of people on the internet. And that's what I'm showing people is like there's an Angel Powered Disney out there. And she takes, she's got some sort of like nonprofit that she takes donations with on her PayPal.
Or Dean Fugiri. It's like, oh my God, get some.
So she's talking about Titus Frost. I don't, why is she talking about Titus, right? Maybe, is it because I'm talking about Titus? I don't know. Titus is on everybody's lips. So here we go.
Yeah, what she does to
pronunciation. I would like to create an app for pronunciation. Just seriously, like, come on, people. And it used to be.
Okay, so apparently we're not saying his French name correctly, so they're going to be snobby about mispronouncing their French names.
That the BBC, anybody that was a mainstream broadcaster had to be fully educated in pronunciation. So you cannot say Matau or like Fugiri or whatever. You just can't do that. But anyway, I want to get...
Okay, so that was a jab at me.
Back to serious stuff.
Okay, back to being not as bitchy as we were when we started this stream.
Denise and I did 2 shows and then all hell broke loose, So whether it's connected or not, I am very concerned about the lack of attention that has gone towards the death of Jeff Reed.
And this is where it gets foul to me because look at how her eye, you're gonna lie right there. You're gonna lie right here. Right here, she's gonna be really freaking wicked. So not only have I lost a friend, right? I was telling you about Jeff Reed, but she's now going to say something really foul about me. And she's going to use Jeff Reed's daughters, who are minors, in order to attack me. So she's going to exploit, she has no facts. This is old news. And I'll let you know that, I've got receipts of conversations between Jeff Reed and her about this topic. And he couldn't stand her. He had some very choice words for Angel Powered Disney when he was alive. And in my final, assessment and, my analysis of who Angel Powered Disney is and what she does on the internet, those conversations will be revealed because I do have receipts. But here we go. Here we go with Angie.
And where are those children that were featured on the adult live stream?
Like she practically looks crazy when she says that too. To me, it's like, and where are those children? It's like, okay, let me tell you where those children are. Those children, just when, they lose their father, their mom is incapable. The courts have deemed her incapable of caring for her children. And I am not going to discuss what those things are because I don't feel like I want to harm anybody, but I know that to be true. That's why Jeff had custody of them. And when he passed away, surprisingly, he went to another family member, which I'd like to also keep private, that was able to take the children. They have moved someplace else, someplace that probably someone like Angel Powered Disney shouldn't know where they are. Because in my opinion, she's the predator in this situation. And they are going on with their lives. But here she is using this story, just like Denise did, just like, like the whole thing that, Stephen Cambion's going through with David Wilcock. Something that has zero proof. Something that when I was streaming and I asked Jeff if it was okay if they were on the stream, he gave them his permission. Anybody can listen to that stream and listen to it. And there was nothing wrong about the interaction of my show at that time. They sometimes they came in, they watched my show, and Jeff allowed them to. Because they want to tell people that my show's disgusting and I'm a foul person and this and that, and they'll give you a bunch of reasons why. And then speculate something really nasty, really defamatory, really malicious, and really what I consider to be evil, and something that, well, frankly, if she was in the United States, I could sue her for. But let's continue.
Of Terry Joyce, where are those children? Because Jeff Reed had
you know, I just gave an explanation of where they are, and as far as that, because they are minors, it's nobody else's business at this point. Angela Power Disney.
I did in me in messages that the mother he'd got rid of. He had got rid of, and so I want to know: are those children with their mother, or are they in foster care? Or are they trafficked? And I find it very, very suspicious that Terry Joyce can give a requiem to a comedian that she previously knew, but she says virtually nothing about the death of the father of the two little girls she featured.
Requiem of a comedian. First of all, Jeff was not a comedian. That's how little she knows about who she's talking about. I told you that Jeff was involved with the Captain Mark Richards documentary. He's a UFO debunker. And he was my moderator. Look at her. Look at I gotta tell you, this just absolutely disgusts me.
On her adult live stream. But that's
on my adult live stream. In her opinion, my live stream is adult. Yeah, you know what? I do mark most of my stuff on this channel as it's none of my material on YouTube is made for kids. But everything else that's being shown is just as what's the difference? She's worse than I am, I think. She's talking about foul, disgusting things that I'm even afraid to talk about on YouTube. Like, I'm even afraid to play any more of her broadcast because she's an example of everything that YouTube eliminates.
Beside the point, I want to get back to the reason myself and Denise connected is because she has a story about her daughter being murdered.
Okay, and that's enough. Because anybody that knows what's going on knows how the rest of this plays out. Okay? Right? Okay, so I'm going to shift gears here. I am because I consider myself to, have content that has value. I am a professional stand-up comedian. I am working. I am going to college. If you would like to support my channel, the best way is to give a donation at hollywoodhemptress@gmail.com. That's the easiest way. You can also see my Venmo, my Cash App. I am a little tight this month because of the summer, and I do tutor biology, anthropology, but my paycheck isn't until the 10th. So I am a little bit more in need. And if you can, it's greatly appreciated. If you can't, if you could give my video a like and a share, and, welcome to the Not My Rabbit Hole. I don't know what do I call this? Joint, Not My Rabbit Hole grouping or experience. I don't want to say experience because there's other people that have hijacked that. So I'll try to figure out what I want to call it. But I am going to be doing more things with my DJI Pocket 3. And, I'm going to talk about topics that are more in the public. I do not want to spend a whole lot of time on, the ugliness that these people are saying about me, the lies that are being spread. But I see myself as being no different than Stephen Cambion on Truth Seekers or anybody else that, whether you want to criticize my French or not, my pronunciation of my perpetrators, tough shit. It doesn't mean that what I'm saying isn't true. And if I was on a real media production, and I'm sure that a lot of journalists get coached on how to pronounce French names. In fact, I know they do, because like when you're reading copy on a teleprompter, you phonetically spell out the correct pronunciation of how it's supposed to be said on the podcast or on the news. So that's how journalists are perfect when they pronunciate their French words. But being that I am a student, that apparently it rather threatens them that I am and do know what is ethical and how to write and how to do videos better and everything else. And so really how I see these women who can't stand up on a stage and make jokes and headline a casino on August 9th, right? They're not being hired out for private parties, or, they're not writing articles that are getting, being picked for grant money or anything like that. I am. They're not on the dean's list. I am. And so, those are the facts. All right. And, you're listening to very old people with old ideas. It's like Ansel Para Disney comes from an era of the internet. Same thing with David. That's really getting played out. Like when you talk about people being woke, like what is woke really? What is being able to see what a big stinking lie is? And who is just sitting on their channel talking shit about somebody because you don't like their exposing of you? And that's exactly what happened to Angela Para Disney. That's exactly what happened between her and I back in 2016. I did a video, I did a whole analysis on her, and I busted her ass. And she still can't stop doing what she's doing. But if you want to tune into that and listen to that crap, well, God help you. Until next time, I will have a great rest of your week. Gonna share this. Oh God, not that. Here we go. And I'm gonna play my favorite.
Save my soul. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. I want to save my soul. Went up downtown. I went up downtown. Went up downtown. Pop, save my soul. Oh, pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Oh, pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Oh, pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. I was walking out one evening late. Moon was rising, headed for the riverside. Around us fuss and fight.